Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Tondani Moketi. I'm your facilitator for the first year Information Systems modules. For those who joined late, I've already pasted the link for the attendance register here in the chat. Please go and complete the attendance register. It is not for marks, it's just for us to keep track of how many students are attending the sessions for record purposes. So today we are talking about enterprise systems. Just a reminder, please, about our rules of engagement. For our sessions, please switch off your video, mute your microphone. If you would like to ask a question, please raise your virtual hand, or you can put your question here in the chat. And always make sure you complete the attendance register. And in the end, I will also ask you to complete the evaluation form. Most importantly, feel free to participate. This is a safe environment. We are all here to learn. And for any technical queries, you can just send an email to the Cape Town tutorial office on this email address with your student number, and they will be able to assist you. Just a reminder about recordings. So all the sessions are recorded and they are added to this YouTube playlist. The link is also here on our chat, so you can be able to catch up on the previous sessions that you have missed, or later when you're preparing for exams, you can be able to rewatch the recordings here on this playlist. So today we are talking about enterprise systems. The outcomes for today's lesson is to describe enterprise resource planning systems and to explain how supply chain management is used within an organization. And also we can discuss the assignment if you guys have any questions regarding the assignment as well. So first off, defining enterprise systems. You have probably heard about this word ERP before. So ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning Systems. And these type of systems are integrated software applications that organizations use to manage and streamline different aspects of their business processes. So these systems are designed to provide a centralized and unified view of an organization's data and to facilitate information flow across the different departments. I always have that picture that I referred to showing the management information system that a management information system touches different aspects of a business. So typically it is divided into different business operations. The example that I gave was a retail system. I'll just pop an image in the chat. It is there in the previous slide. So a retail management information system touches other operations like production, distribution, inventory, sales, finance, management. So that is what it means when we're saying that The ERP systems provide a centralized, unified view of the organization's data, meaning that when a transaction has happened at a point of sale terminal, it is not stand alone. That transaction also impacts stock numbers. It also impacts the finances and so forth. So this is what it means when we say ERP systems are centralized. ERP systems also have got integration, meaning that they integrate data and processes across different functional areas in an organization, such as finance, human resources, supply chain, manufacturing, sales, and customer relationship management. It could be that some of these functional areas are using different systems, like the HR system. Maybe it's a separate system, but integrated to the ERP system. So customer relationship management system. Most companies usually have a separate CRM system that they can use for marketing and following up on leads. But in the background, that is also linked to the ERP system. So this integration enables real-time data sharing between the different functional areas or between the different systems. Then there is a central database. If you remember, we said one of the major components of an MIS is the database. So enterprise systems always have a centralized database which stores and manages data related to various business processes. So it acts as a repository and it ensures data consistency so that it is a single source of truth. So if you look at this diagram here on the chart, the example about a sale transaction. Let's say a customer went to a supermarket and they bought a loaf of bread. That loaf of bread is a sale transaction. On your till slip, you will see that they usually have things like product code. That product code will link that specific item to the inventory, and there must be a deduction in the inventory because a customer has bought this. If they need to order new stock, then the inventory manager will be able to see in the system that we need to order new stock, excuse me. Or if it is an automated ordering process from supplier, when the stock reaches a certain level, then an automatic order then is sent to the supplier. So the database ensures that everything that is happening in the management information system, in the enterprise system, is integrated and that it is a single source of truth. So most of the systems enforce standardization of business processes and data and helping organizations maintain consistencies across operations. So a standardized process could be a student registration process, something maybe that will make sense to you. So as a student of UNISA, after you have applied and you received your admission letter to say you've been admitted to this program, BSc in computer science or whatever program, the next step is to register. So there is a standard registration process. Maybe you had to log into the portal and then select the modules that you want to register for this semester or for the year. Then maybe you had to pay a certain amount for the module, and there are certain checks that happens in the background to see if you qualify to take those modules, etc., until you finish the process and you receive your proof of registration document. So that is a standardized process. Even in different industries, there are standardized processes. I have shared with you guys the process of online order fulfillment. It's pretty standard across retail. There are standard processes even in human resource ERP systems, for example. So standardization helps to reduce errors and ensures compliance because the users have to perform certain steps in order for the process to be completed. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay, no questions. Then another thing you need to know about enterprise systems is the real time of information. So this system provides real time access to critical information, allowing decision makers to make informed choices based on up-to-date data. And this is valuable for strategic planning and timely response to market changes. So if you remember a few weeks back when we were talking about data and business intelligence, we said data from different sources is uploaded into the data warehouse through the ETL process. And that data is not real time, it is historic data, and it is a snapshot at a point in time. Whereas in this case, we are saying that enterprise systems provide real-time access to data. So when a transaction is happening at that same time, if someone goes and checks the sales report, they will see that this sale happened at this time. So that is what real-time information means. Then enterprise systems automate routine, repetitive tasks to reduce manual effort and the risk of errors. So this can include automating financial transactions, order processing, inventory management, etc. So let's say, for example, a process of generating invoices. So once a customer has made an online purchase, the order is processed and an invoice is generated automatically. That is an example of automation. Another example could be maybe a ticketing system like web tickets or Quicket, for example, if you use those. So that is automation because a user will go in to the website or to the app, select an event that they want to buy tickets for, select the number of tickets. If you have to choose a seat, choose a seat, and then you proceed to the checkout stage where you must make payment. Whether you're making payment by direct EFT or by credit card, or if you're using Zapper, SnapScan, whatever method of payment, once that payment is processed, then the system automatically generates the tickets and send it to you by email or ask you whether you want to download. Similar to airline booking systems. So all of that is automation. So automation makes processes simpler. It makes the customer experience much more pleasant because everything happens quickly. The customer doesn't have to wait to get what they paid for. So that is the advantage of automation. Then we also have reporting and analytics. Enterprise systems come with reporting, built-in reports, and analytical tools that help users to generate a wide range of reports to conduct data analysis. So you always get built-in reports that come with a system, but maybe that built-in report does not provide enough data. You need something extra, or you want to combine uh, different data sets. Then you can use the analytical tools to generate your own report as a system user. And the reports help organizations to gain insight into their operations and make data-driven decisions. We have said from the beginning that the main purpose of management information system is to provide data to management so that they can be able to make decisions based on data. So that is why reporting and analytics is important. We also have security and access control. So all enterprise systems have got security features and access control features to protect sensitive data, to ensure that only authorized users have got access to specific information and to specific functionality. So this means before you access the system, you must be a registered user, and someone must give you access to that system. And then, even as a user of the system, you don't have access to everything. That is where access control comes in. So only certain users are allowed to access certain data, if I can say it like that. So in a retail system, a person whose role is a cashier, they only need to have access to the point of sale system that they will use for their daily job. They don't need to have access to the finance module or to the production module. They don't need access to that information. So it's important with ERP system that access control is in place in order to protect sensitive data. We've also learned in the previous sessions about cybercrime and how some of it is done by employees who are inside the organization. So these security features and access control is to try and to prevent things like that. So security and access control is very important with any system. Enterprise systems also have modules in nature. So this means different modules for various business functions. So if you are someone who has worked on SEP, you will know that there is different modules like materials management, sales and distribution, project management, etc. So most of these ERP systems are like that. They are modular in nature, meaning that you can separate the business functions according to modules so that it makes it easier to customize the system by selecting the modules that align with the specific needs. Then scalability means that the enterprise systems are designed to accommodate the growth of an organization. So they can scale up to handle increased data volumes, to handle increased number of users, and more business processes. So that is what scalability means. It means that the system can scale up to handle increased volumes. Are there any comments from you guys? Comments or questions? Okay, thank you for the thumbs up. So if you don't have comments or questions, can you guys give me some examples of ERP systems? Can you name a few examples of ERP systems? Maybe systems that you have worked on or you have heard of. You can just put your examples here in the chat. I see only one person responded. John says SAP system. Thank you for that. Okay, Tabang also says, I've also come across the SAP ERP system. Yeah, SAP is a popular system. What are other examples? There is Sage, which is used mostly in finance. And I think in manufacturing, they mostly use a system called SysPro. Have you guys heard of that one? Microsoft Dynamics 360. Yes, thank you. That is another good example. Okay. Yeah, so those are some of the example ERP systems, but there are many out there. So as you can see here, there are other ERP systems like Oracle. Oracle is a big ERP system, and it's a competitor to SAP. So Oracle has also got different modules. Then there is Sage, there is SysPro, Microsoft IFS. I've not heard of IFS before. There is Epicor, there is Workday. So there are many different ERP systems out there. It just depends on what the organization wants to do or what they want to use it for before making a decision on what to buy. Okay. Next, we have some few practice questions. So before we get there, this is just a summary of the components of an ERP system that I mentioned. The components like a unified database so that everything is centralized. Everything that I have discussed, you can find this table there in your book. It's table 11.1. Inventory management, which provides inventory status and forecasts. Manufacturing, supply chain, human resources, purchasing, accounting, e-commerce, all of that. So they are components of an ERP system. Okay, some practice questions. Question 1 says, in a value chain, service involves option A, tasks associated with receiving, storing, and disseminating incoming goods, or B, activities to support customers after the sale of products, C, identifying customer needs and generating sales, or D, processing raw materials into finishing goods. Which of these activities are involved in a value chain? You can select your answer and put it here in the chat. Does anyone want to try? We have discussed value chain before when we talked about Porter's value chain. So in a value chain, service involves not tasks associated with receiving. So A is incorrect. B, activities to support customers after sale of products. That is also service. Identifying customer needs and generating sales. We cannot say it's D. Customer needs is definitely part of service. So we always talk about customer service. So anything that has to do with the customer, that is service. Processing of raw materials and finished goods is not service. That is manufacturing. You will understand better when we get to the detail. The next one, transaction processing systems involve operations that are repetitive, involve low volumes of data, or C, require extensive managerial judgment, require maximum human involvement. Which of these options are true about transaction processing systems? I'll give you 2 minutes to look at that and select your answer. Someone says, I can't see. Everyone else can see. Teko, can you see the screen? You can't see the screen. Other people, can you see the screen? Please just give me a thumbs up. Okay, other people can see the screen. So then something is wrong on your side. Okay, you can see now. Okay, yes. So the question was, transaction processing systems involve operations that are repetitive, involve low volumes of data, or C, require extensive managerial judgment, or require maximum human involvement. You can just choose one option. So this is from chapter 11. So we talked about ERP systems and some of the advantages of ERP systems is that they improve customer satisfaction, automation, reduces manual labor. But then we also have other systems like CRM systems that are more focused on improving the customer experience. We also have transaction processing systems, which are specifically for processing transaction. You can just think about when you go to a supermarket to buy something, the system at the checkout where you have to pay for the goods that you're buying, that is a transaction processing system. So you can just think in that context what a transaction processing system is. Okay, I see someone says, I think it's B. They involve low volumes of data. The correct answer here is A, meaning that transaction processing systems involve operations that are repetitive. So if you can just picture what happens at a supermarket checkout, you're going to pay for your groceries or whatever, and the customer in front of you has a big trolley full of stuff. The action that the cashier is performing is repetitive because they just take an item and scan the barcode. Take another item, scan the barcode. That's all they're doing. They just scan the barcode and the system does all the processing, and it adds up all the items until the sale is complete and the customer can get a total and they make a payment. So transaction processing systems involve operations that are repetitive. Does it make sense? So when you read these things, you must think about it in a practical way, what are we in real life? What do we, where do we use this? Or where have you seen it in real life? Because this is not just theoretical things, it is systems that we interact with on a daily basis. Okay, I hope you guys understand. Okay. Then the next topic is supply chain management. We are still on chapter 11. So supply chain management is the process of working with suppliers and other partners in the supply chain to improve procedures for delivering products and services. And this involves a lot of coordination. Coordinating the procurement of materials, meaning that getting the raw materials that are required to manufacture a product. Maybe you have to get the raw materials from farmers. That is procurement. Transforming those raw materials into intermediate and finished products or services. Coordination of how the finished products will be distributed to retail shops and to customers. All of that is what we call supply chain management. So you have probably seen this picture in your book. So this is a typical supply chain management process. You have raw materials as the beginning, at the starting point. And then you have a supplier who supplies that raw material. Then that raw material must go through a manufacturing process. Once manufacturing is completed in the factory, regardless of how many steps are involved in the manufacturing process, then the completed product must be distributed to retail shops, to distribution points where customers can get it, and then the end consumer can get the product. Okay. John is saying he is going to work night shift. Okay. Yes, John, that is fine. So at the end of the session, I will post the slides here in the chat. Then you can access the slides. I will also share the link to the recordings again. Okay. So let's say, for example, we have a company that manufactures potato chips. We all know potato chips, maybe Lay's or Simba chips. Before we can get that product in the shops or at the garage or wherever you buy it, the process starts with the raw material. In this case, the raw material is the potatoes that comes from the farm. There is a supplier who supplies those potatoes, and maybe they also need other raw materials like spices, oil, the plastic materials that is used for packaging, that they must get to from the suppliers of those type of materials. So all of that is raw materials that must be input into this supply chain. So once the supplier has provided the raw materials, it goes through a manufacturing process. So we have what is called inbound logistics. We discussed this last time. Inbound means raw materials are coming in to the supply chain. So in this case, raw materials will be coming into the manufacturing facility or the factory. Then it goes through manufacturing process. Maybe they first wash the potatoes, I don't know, or there's a machine that washes the potatoes, peels the potatoes, another one that slices, and then it goes into the oil for frying. I don't know what the process is, but that is typically what happens in manufacturing. And then once that whole process is done, it is then packaged into um, the plastic packets. But before that packaging is done, somewhere there needs to be quality control to inspect for freshness, to inspect the quality of the product. In this case, maybe they have someone whose job is to inspect the taste of the potato chips and to make sure that it meets the quality standards and industry regulations. So once all of that is done and they are packaged and stored in boxes in a warehouse, probably somewhere, then the product must go through distribution. Most companies don't distribute their own products. They have subcontractors who do the distribution for them to deliver the product to retail shops, to their customers, so that it can get to the end consumer. So then you as a consumer, you will go to a shop like Pick and Pay or ShopRite, you go and buy a packet of chips. But there is a lot that happened in the supply chain for that packet of chips to get there. So this is what supply chain means in simple terms. And with that, there is always the process of customer service. Customer service is important to handle customer feedback, to deal with complaints or inquiries. Customers will always need to call or contact the company with their feedback or maybe complain that the product that they bought was not good quality or whatever the case may be. But there always needs to be customer service. Okay, do you guys have questions here on supply chain? I know I gave a simple example about the manufacturing of potato chips, but this is the same process that is followed for any product. The type of raw material may be different, or the type of manufacturing and distribution might be different, but That is the supply chain management process. So this is what I have explained now. The process of working with suppliers and other partners in the supply chain to improve procedures for delivering products and services. Okay, then we spoke about coordinating the procurement of materials and the manufacturing process, which is transforming materials into finished goods and distributing those finished products. Then we have software vendors that offer comprehensive supply chain management systems like SAP, Oracle, JDA software. So those are systems that you can buy ready off the shelf for supply chain management. In a manufacturing firm, in a supply chain management system, information in a supply chain management system flows between the following areas: product flow, information flow, finances flow. So those are the three things that you need to know whenever there is a product. There is information and there is finances that goes with it. 4 key decisions in supply chain management: the location is very important, where, for example, the manufacturing will be done. Most companies try to bring manufacturing closer to where the raw materials are, so that they don't have to spend lots of money on transporting the raw materials. So location is important. Inventory, how much inventory are you going to keep? Also depending on the type of product that you are manufacturing. If it is something that has got a long shelf life, like rice or pasta, you can afford to keep large amounts of inventory. But for things like dairy products that go off quickly, you cannot keep large quantities in stock. So those are some of the key decisions that needs to be made. And production of the material and how it will be transported in the distribution to get to the customers. Transportation must be in a way that the products are secure and that they keep to the same quality standards. So if milk must be transported from the factory to the retail shops, it must not go off on the way. So that are some of the considerations when it comes to transportation. So with each and every product, these are the 4 key decisions that must be taken in supply chain management: location, inventory, production, and transportation. You probably remember this picture of Potter's value chain. Does anyone remember what this picture is telling us? So Potter's value chain, we said it is a framework that is used in organizations to measure how they compete in the market in relation to their competitors. And we have core activities or the primary activities on the bottom part. These primary activities contribute to the core function of the business. So let's say this business manufactures potato chips. That is their core business. The primary activities of inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, those are all primary activities which are important for the organization to generate money and to create profit. But for that to happen, there needs to be the support activities, organizational structure, human resource management, technology, and procurement. We've discussed this already, so I won't go into detail, but those supporting activities are important to support the core business of the organization. So that is important when it comes to supply chain management. You need to understand Porter's value chain. And then in your book, they also talk about different vendors of software solutions and EDI, advantages of using EDI, electronic data interchange. You need to know that. What is electronic data interchange? It enables business partners to send and receive information on business transactions. So the supplier is connected directly to the customer system, if I can call it that way, so that all of the transactions are happening through the system. They don't have to send orders manually or make phone calls. It all happens via EDI. So that is some of the important things that you need to know there. Okay, and this is a slide. This diagram is there in your book. If you can't see, you can just look in your book. It is explaining this collaborative planning, forecasting and replenishment. So I've spoken a lot about point of sale system. So this type of system is used to share data and for joint planning in a supply chain. So any data that is collected is shared with all members of the supply chain, be it suppliers, distributors, manufacturers, and coordinating of the supply chain can be difficult. I explained the different types of coordinations that is involved in supply chain. So you have to coordinate procurement of materials, transforming that material into intermediate and finished products or services, which in this case, we refer to it as manufacturing, coordination of distributing the finished product or services to customers. So all of that is the amount of coordination that is required in supply chain. Then this CPFR ensures that inventory and sales data is shared across the supply chain so that each member of the supply chain knows when they need to do something. So if stock levels are going down, based on the data, the supplier will know that now I need to go and deliver more stock. So that is why this is important. Everyone knows the exact sales and inventory levels. So when you go and buy an item and you check it out at the teller, stock levels are updated and the sales figures are updated so that everyone is informed of how much sales we've made of this specific product and how many are left in stock. Costs for each partner are shared and minimized because now they're using a centralized system. But just like anything, there's always unforeseen problems that can come up. Do you guys have any questions or comments? I feel like I spoke a lot today. Okay. Then let's do the practice questions. Question 1. In service organizations, the link in the supply chain includes one product, 2 information, 3 location, or 4 finances. The link in the supply chain. I'll give you a minute to just think about that and then you select your answer. Option 3 is location. So what is the link in the supply chain? If you look at that diagram of the supply chain that is showing raw materials, just see if I can find it. Yeah. Raw material supplier, manufacturing, distribution, retailer, and consumer. Volcano says 1, which is the product. Then Pearl says 2, information. So the link means what links these different parts in the supply chain process together from raw materials, supplier, manufacturing, distribution until it reaches the consumer. So information is the link here. You can go check it in section 11.1. Okay, then let's go to the next one. The component of an ERP system provides B2C information related to order status and B2B information related to suppliers and business partners. Is it unified database, supply chain, CRM, or e-commerce? Option 2, the supply chain component of an ERP system provides B2C information related to order status and B2B information related to suppliers and partners. Yes. Option 2, supply chain component is the correct answer here. Okay, then question 3. Amazon.com suggests products you might enjoy based on your past browsing and purchasing habits. This is an example of 1, personalization, 2, customization, 3, cross-selling, or option 4, reverse auction. Okay, I see option 2, customization. Tamang says cross-selling. What is cross-selling? So to verify this, you go back to your book and check in chapter 11 what it is saying about these terms. So the parts where you see that it is shaded blue, that is usually important information, the important terms that you need to know. So in this case, customization allows customers to modify the standard offering, such as selecting a different home page to be displayed each time you open your browser. So we can see customization is not correct. Let's check personalization. What does personalization mean? You can open it for yourself and see section 11.2. Personalization. Let me check for it quickly. I cannot find that personalization. Can someone find the definition for that, please? Anyone wants to help with the definition for personalization in relation to ERP systems? So it says here, Amazon is known for using personalization to recommend products to customers with the message, customer who bought this item also bought, followed by a list of suggestions. So personalization is the process of satisfying customer needs, building customer relationships. It involves not only customer requests, but also interaction between customers and the company. That is all in the same section 11.2, which talks about customization and personalization. But from this, we can see already that option 3 and 4 are out because reverse auction is something else. I think reverse auction is where sellers submit different prices for products and services. Normally the buyer bids, but in this case the seller bids. So that's why it's called reverse auction. Okay, so are we going with option 2? customization, or option 1, personalization? I'm leaning more towards personalization, but I see 2 people are saying it's customization. So you can go and verify for yourself. I told you where you can find that information. So I wanted us to look at a case here that was given of Coca-Cola. It is in your book. And there's also an interesting case study about QR codes in action. Let me just share that. I saw someone asking about the textbook still last week. So if you are someone who is still struggling to get the textbook, I mean, it's almost end of the year, you must reach out so that we can help you. So I was saying you guys must go and read this section about QR codes in action to understand how this company, the one company, is using QR codes to keep their records. You can go read that one, but I wanted us to go through the Coca-Cola case study. So in this section, you can go and read about QR codes, important information that you will need to know, RFID applications. These are some of the things that they might ask you. Internet of Things, you need to know what it is and how it works. They like to ask questions about Internet of Things. This is the CPFR that I was explaining. But now I'm looking for this one. Page 275. It might be a different page in your book, but it is talking about supply chain management at Coca-Cola Company. So, as we know, Coca-Cola Company is the world's largest beverage company. It has 500 sparkling and non-sparkling brands sold in more than 200 countries. The company needed a more modern supply chain management system. So SCM stands for supply chain management. That would work well with its other systems. So the new supply chain management would also need to provide processes and information to assist with acquisitions of other companies. And it would need to integrate the information from manufacturing with its retail operations. To achieve these goals, Coca-Cola decided to implement a supply chain management system at its 17 European plants replacing several of the existing systems. So just from reading this, you can hear the goals of ERP systems that we talked about earlier. If you paid attention. So Coca-Cola had this challenge and they realized that they need a new supply chain management system that will be easy to integrate with their other systems. Remember we said one of the main components of enterprise systems is integration. That these systems integrate data and processes across different functional areas in the organization, such as finance, sales, manufacturing, etc. So here you can see Coca-Cola wanted this new supply chain management system to work well with other systems. This means integration and to provide process and information to assist with acquisition of other companies. It will need to integrate the information from manufacturing with its retail operation. So in the end, SAP ERP was adopted as the main system with certain applications outsourced to CSC. The new supply chain management implementation has succeeded by providing more automation. Here's another advantage, more automation by streamlining various supply chain processes. It also assists in bringing newly acquired companies online in a timely manner. More important, the new supply chain management system links supply and demand data into a single system. This is very important. Supply and demand in a single system, and overall the new system provides key decision makers with timely and relevant information that improves the overall efficiency and effectiveness of the entire supply chain operation. So from reading just this case study, you can pick up the components of an ERP system that we were discussing earlier. Integration, automation, and data for decision making, linking of supply and demand in a single system. So all of those are advantages. So questions for us to discuss. Why did Coca-Cola implement a supply chain management system? It is there in the case study. Why did Coca-Cola decide to implement a supply chain management system? Anyone who wants to raise their hand and answer the question? So it is there. It says from here, the company needed more modern supply chain management system that can work well with other systems. That is reason number 1. Then number 2, they needed a system that will provide processes and information to assist with acquisition of other companies. And 3, that will integrate the information from manufacturing with its retail operations. So those are the 3 reasons why Coca-Cola needed to implement a supply chain management system. Question 2, how did the supply chain management system impact the efficiency of the entire supply chain operation? We are on this one now. How does the new SAP ERP system impact the efficiency of the entire supply chain operations? So it says here that the new supply chain implementation has succeeded by providing more automation. So that is a positive impact on the efficiency, more automation by streamlining processes. It also assists by bringing newly acquired companies online in a timely manner. So if you ever have to answer questions from a case study, you just need to read and understand the information that is provided in order to answer the questions. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So let's stop here for today. For anyone who needs help with any of the first year information systems modules, I am available for one-on-one consultations, not only for INF1505, but for the other first year modules like INF1511. I'm available for the computer science first year modules, course 1511, course 1512, course 1521. So if you're also doing computer science, you can reach out to me. My email address is there in the chat, then we can have a one-on-one consultation. Okay, and one more thing. For those who are doing INF1520, you can let me know when is your next assignment. Assignment 3 for INF1520. I think it was also due in August so that we can work through it. But yeah, my email address is there if you need to contact me. One last thing, I will just post again the link for recordings and then the evaluation form that you must please complete before you go. So all recordings are added to this YouTube playlist every week. You can be able to get them from there. Now I'm going to post the evaluation form. If you can please complete the evaluation form, that will be great. Okay, are there any questions before I go? No questions. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We will meet again next week, Thursday. So this class is always on Thursday, 5:30. We started 5:30. I saw someone today asking if there was a class. So there is always a class Thursday, 5:30 until we get to exam time. Even if you don't receive the email, you can just join on the same link that you used today. That is the link that we are using for the rest of the semester. So we will meet again next week, Thursday at 5:30. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye, everyone.
That's it. Yeah. Bye, man.